Welcome to Tip Tuesday. Today we're going to talk about 25 tips that will help you accelerate or just have an easier time in your classes at WGU. We're going to start off with the first 10, which are going to be 10 tips for your objective assessments. Number one, you always want to check out a Reddit about the course. So if I'm doing C233, I will go into Google, I will type in C233 WGU Reddit, and it will pull up a couple different ones from different people that have already done the class or from Reddit posts that people have about questions for that class. And I'll just kind of read through those, see what valuable information they can give to me, and then I'll also read the comments and see what I can get from that. Lots of good information just to get you in the mindset about the course and give you some tips so you don't make the same mistakes as some other people before you. You can do the same thing with YouTube videos, just like the one you're watching now. Going on to number two, I would watch all cohorts for the class. If you go onto the right side of your homepage for your class, there will be usually announcements or tips. You pull up a link and it'll give you multiple videos for that course tailored to specific chapters from the course and all of that. And then it'll also give you tips for the actual objective assessment, or really just give you the main sections you want to focus on and the weightings and all that. After I watch all those cohorts, also bonus tip, I like to watch them on 2x speed. Usually with those classes, the instructor taught slow enough that 2x speed almost sounds normal, or you could bump it down to maybe 1.5. That just saves you time. If it's an hour cohort, you get done in 30 minutes. That's free time for you to get another cohort done today instead of tomorrow. Then you want to take the practical exam or a practical assessment, so the practice test. You want to take that as soon as you get your cohorts, or even before that. You want to take it as soon as possible, because this is going to be your guide to knowing what to actually study and what you don't know that is going to be needed to know for the test. So after you take that PA, use the missed questions from the PA to learn, and also involve quizlets. I don't use quizlets too much for WG personally, but I know a lot of people on Reddit and general have just said they've helped them a lot. Find you a good quizlet, but go through every single question of the PA after you take it. And if you pass your PA, you're most likely going to pass the OA. Just study the things you missed and just take the time to understand why you missed it and why the answer that is right and the other ones are wrong. Once you get that understanding, you're probably 9 times out of 10 ready for that OA. So now that you study what you needed to, you want to have a study session right before the test, or at least I do personally. So after you click book, you've got that proctor exam coming up 15-30 minutes from now, you want to start cramming. Just go through the PA again, see what you missed, see why you missed it, understand it, have notes written down. I have just paper notebook. I write down all kinds of stuff for all kinds of classes. Can't see it because it's blurry, but I have all these notes about the most important things, or I write down exactly what I missed, because when you write stuff down, it helps you retain it more anyways. So I'll go through everything I missed, cram a little bit before that test. You also want to have your equipment ready for the test. You want to be set up and everything to make that proctored exam a smooth process. You want to have your camera ready. You want to have your whiteboard ready if you have one. So right there. You want to have a calculator ready if you need one for the test. And then I have all of these things down in the description if you need to pick one up if you're curious to what I use. But you want to have all of that already for your test. And then right before the test starts, or right the moment that test starts, the moment they tell you you're good to go, start writing out anything important you can remember. Whether it's an acronym for a long thing you need to remember that you remember at the beginning of the test, formula, just some keywords, or just anything that you could forget that you already remember, that you just cram before the test. Write it down immediately, as much stuff as you can that might help you before you start answering questions. That way you'll have all that information later on. That's a huge tip for taking those OAs. Then when you're going through those questions, you want to use process of elimination. Most of the times, it will make sense if you understand the question which one the answer is, just kind of by eliminating stuff. Most of the time, they're not trying to trick you. Some classes can be a little bit more tougher on that than others, but usually you really understand the material, there's one answer that really makes sense. You just gotta take the time to really think about what actually makes sense. So eliminate questions, especially when you get to ones that are tough. Eliminate the answers. Go with the one that makes the most sense. That'll help you get answers more in the long run, right? And then at the very end of the test, right before you turn it in, especially if you've been flagging questions. I love the flag questions that I'm not sure about, or that just I'm pretty sure I got wrong. I flag those, and right before I turn that test in, I go back to the beginning, kind of go through everything again, especially ones I flagged, just kind of double check, be like, am I okay with this answer? Most of the time, I don't change things. Sometimes I would change a couple answers right before I turn it in. Because sometimes when you're going through the test, like question 2, I may have no idea what the answer is, but when I get to question 20, it will be a similar question that I know the right answer to, that gives me information that gives me the right answer to question 2. So sometimes you need to go back towards the end. That's 10 tips for taking objective assessments at WGU. Good luck with your next test. Now we're going to move on to 10 tips for taking classes that just call for PAs, those papers, sometimes video projects. So tip number 1, check out the Reddit, of course. It's going to be the same tip from OAs. Watch YouTube videos, mostly Reddit for this one. Number 2, you want to look for any templates for the paper you're about to write. Go to the tips, go to course announcements. It's going to have a Word document or an Excel sheet or something that is going to make it way easier and make it just so much easier to start. You're not going to have to use all that brain power for trying to set up everything. So open up the Word document. It will ask you questions, and you will just put your answer below it and just move on to the next question. That's pretty much how you go through your paper. I don't think there's any courses. Maybe there was one where I didn't have this and I do it myself. Use the templates. It kind of lines up with the rubric and makes it 10 times easier. Also, always go exactly by the rubric. If you go exactly by the rubric, you cannot go wrong. You will pass the paper. They tell you exactly what they want. You get all of those things down, you will pass. The rubric is law, scripture. We obey whatever the rubric asks for us. Then we want to watch any cohorts. That's going to be the same no matter what the class is. I like to watch all the cohorts. Some classes, the instructor is going to walk you through step by step how to do your PA course, your paper, whatever it is. Sometimes they will pretty much do it and you're just going to be doing a different version of what they showed you. Obviously, you don't want to copy exactly what they do. Then you want to read the scenario and just get to writing it. So easy to procrastinate with these PA courses. But as soon as you get started, it sounds awful, it sounds boring, but once you get started, get into that mind flow state and just get it done, you'll be like asking yourself, why didn't I start that last week? Why didn't I do that a couple hours ago? Because the first 30 minutes might be a slog, but once you get into the zone, you knock it out so fast. It surprises me every time. There's been papers that I've procrastinated for a month, a couple weeks, that I end up doing in like 4 hours because I really just sat down and got it done. Number 5, if it's a video, have notes written and use your monitor. So if you have to take a video of you talking to the camera, something like this, you want to either have some notes written down. You can maybe have them out in front of you where you can see them, or you can put your camera right behind your monitor and you can read through them. And do not be afraid if you stutter, if you say 50 times like I do in these videos. It doesn't matter. Just do your best, be as confident as you can, and you're gonna pass the paper, or the video. Anyways, moving on. Number 6, don't be afraid to submit. If it's kicked back for any reason, they're going to tell you exactly what you need to fix. So if you finish something, if you think you're done, even if you're not confident it's going to pass, and you don't know what to change or fix or how you can make it better, not confident, just send it to them. You do not get penalized for any reason for sending in your papers. So send it in. They'll tell you exactly what you need to fix. You fix it, and that saves you time in the long run. Instead of going through the paper 10 times over trying to perfect it, they'll just kick it back to you. Boom, fix whatever was wrong, and move on. You're out of there. Class is good. 7, if you're really struggling in class, you can reach out to your course instructor. They can kind of give you some additional information, additional tips. That's what they're there for. And they've helped plenty of students get through these courses in the past. So don't be afraid to reach out to your course instructor. Also, with these papers, you want to use a grammar checker. Just get Grammarly on your computer or whatever you do your papers on. I mean, it does all the grammar for you. If you're using Google Docs, Google or Microsoft Word, that usually has a spell checker as well. So just make sure you take advantage of those. You shouldn't really be having to put too much energy into fixing all your grammar. You want to use the similarity report a couple times, not too many. Very early on, I had a couple papers that got kicked back to me because they were just, the wording was too similar, I guess other people's. They have a similarity report that automatically goes through every time you turn in a paper. And so basically it came down to me like not repeating the exact same sentence before each of my answers, like, this is why my company did this. And then question 2, I type, this is why my company did this. Question 3, and you just keep repeating that same thing, and it gives you a lot of similarity in your paper, especially if other students have answered the questions that same exact way. So just make sure you're just mixing it up and you're not copying someone else, and you should be fine without the similarity report, and you won't have to get kicked back. So that was 10 tips for passing PA courses. Now I want to finish off with about 5 more tips for being more productive and how to get more focus when studying. So the first one is going to be, have some self-imposed due dates. Hold yourself accountable. WGU, you're going at your own pace. It is super easy to put things off, to be like, I'm doing a class tomorrow. Then it turns into a week. Then it turns into a whole month. You didn't get a course done when you could have got maybe 3 to freaking 10 courses if you're pushing it done. So set some due dates. And it doesn't have to be, I'm going to finish so-and-so class tomorrow. It could be like, I'm going to watch the cohorts tomorrow. The next day, I'm going to take the PA. The next day, I'm going to check my results for PA. The next day, I'm going to schedule my test. Boom, take the test. And then I got to pass by Saturday. That gives you 5 days, 7 days. But have a due date for everything you're doing and have a focus. That's going to help you get through things even quicker too and more efficiently. And it will stop you from having a month or 2 break in the middle of your term for no reason, just because you're procrastinating. Second off, try to get into the zone when you're studying. There's 2 things you can listen to that will help you at focus. One is called 50 Hertz binaural beats. I got this from Andrew Huberman, and if you play this right before you go to start studying and while you're studying, it just kind of really helps you get in that zone. Another thing to listen is to lo-fi beats. These are really amazing too. They don't have like many words in it or anything, so it's not too distracting, but it's perfect sound to get you into that mental flow state. You also want to like get rid of any distractions. You're on your computer, and if you're someone that spends a lot of time on the computer like me, I like play video games and stuff, it is so easy to open up YouTube or open up a web page or open up a video game and put off studying. So you want to eliminate all distractions as much as possible, whether that's TV, whether that's apps on your computer or your phone. Turn your phone off for an hour and study. Just try to eliminate distractions. Use that music to get you in a flow state. And then also keep in mind, our brain works more efficiently in 90-minute cycles. You can check this out by Andrew Huberman if you're really curious. But the ideal amount of time to study is about 90 minutes. So try to set what your study session is going to be, because you don't want to just work for 6 hours straight. You're going to burn yourself out and it's not going to be efficient. You can get way more done with a focused hour than an unfocused 5 hours. When you're doing this, set either a 30, 60, or I would say 90-minute bout of time for your studying or whatever you're going to do related to your class. In between those, you can do things like meditating or taking small naps from 20 to 30 minutes to kind of reset things, and then maybe do another study session. Also, this is a separate tip: meditating or sleeping. When we go to sleep, especially at night, our mind replays everything from the previous day or from the current day, and that's how we learn from stuff. So sleep is super, super important for learning. The same benefit can happen when you meditate. I personally started doing these guided meditations on YouTube. Just type in guided meditation 15 to 30 minutes. After I get done studying, I just lay down on the mat, headphones on, listen to the guided meditation, and it really helps you retain that information. That is my 5 tips for productivity and staying more focused. If you have any questions for me, make sure to leave a comment down in the comments. If you want to support me making more videos like this one, you can simply buy me a coffee with the link down in the description. Also, I'll leave a link in with a Word document for all of the 25 tips you saw in this video. Go start crushing those WG classes and have a great rest of your day.